Oh.
You have a blog, Trashy Blog or something. What is it called?
No, it's called East Falls Local.
Oh.
And we cover the meetings to document them.
Okay. I think you're calling it Trashy Germantown.
No, it's called East Falls Local. Here, let me show you.
No, we saw it.
Yeah.
We saw it.
And it says OMG GSSD is the actual title.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to do roll call. Peter Mason here. Cornelia Swenson here. Jania Davis. Daniel.
Here.
Oh, Jania. I'm sorry. She's not here. Angela Bowie. Daniel Connor.
Here.
Kathy Palmer. Charles Richardson. Ingrid Shepard. Okay, so three is here. We also have today joining us, all public comments will be saved until the end. Today joining us, Aaliyah Evans, Pyramid Accounting Solutions, and she's going to go over the financial statement when we get to that part in the agenda. And I come and ask this question at the beginning. A board member at the Executive Council. Okay, excuse me. The sign is she's going to go around, and we're in the middle of the meeting.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm great.
We're great.
That's good.
Can some of these chairs?
You can move one of
Did you
them.
get my card? You did?
Greg, so please.
Can I sit in this chair? Move it over here? At the head of the table where I belong?
Okay, so we're going to go through the minutes. Take a moment to review the minutes. No. We can't entertain. I can't do that today. You can push the chair back where this is for the board members. Can you push the chair back?
Yeah, Greg.
Can you please push the chair back? It's for the board members. Okay. Please review the minutes. It'll take about 3 minutes to do that.
Can you put your camera out, please? Just keep it out for me. I just want to know where it is. Thank you.
When a board member's term is up, they can continue to be on the board until their replacement or until they, so there's a question about that. Also a question about a quorum. We don't have any resolutions on the table, so we can proceed with the regular meeting without a quorum. So in reference to the minute,
I make a motion to minutes be accepted.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, again, we're going to save public comments until the end. So the new business, GSSD office space, we have, Jamar and I met the other night and we spoke with the young lady here. From the assessments that we sent out that were in arrears, we are making arrangements with several of the business owners. So our conversation with the landlady in this building, she is working with us, so we're going to continue having the office here until further notice, and we'll make everyone aware of that. The goal ultimately is to be able to, get into a space that's a little cheaper than where we are now. But for now, for this month and next, we remain in this space. Any questions? All public comments are okay, the treasurer's report. Aaliyah?
I'm going to read Jamar's comments first.
Yes.
Okay.
So Jamar has a report, and I'm going to read his report. So a new business, at the last meeting, we discussed opening a new account at PNC. We did contact PNC, and there was some issue that we were never clear about from the branch manager about a municipal authority and the account at PNC. So we weren't able to establish an account there. We did end up establishing an account, and the board was aware of this at Philadelphia Federal Credit Union. And we didn't incur any fees. There's a checking and saving account. and that account is also linked to the QuickBooks, our QuickBooks account. And Aaliyah is here to discuss that, but I'll just talk about a couple other things. The Citizen, we do have access to the other account, and the Citizen bank account will remain open until funds are drawn to zero. We have to reconcile that with Aaliyah because we have some automatic payments that come out of the Citizen bank account, which I'm working to have kind of turned over to the Philadelphia Credit Union account. And in reference to delinquent assessment, there was proposed a payback arrangement with the owner of the property at 5621 Germantown Avenue and on Shelton Avenue. Is currently $15,618 in arrears. And we're working with that property owner. Charles is we're working with the property owner and made an arrangement for $2,000 down immediately and $1,000 each month. And the property owner is cooperative. We're also working on a new arrangement with another property owner who inherited a property that was $12,298 in arrears, and we're having ongoing conversation with that property owner as well. We received $1,350 in private donations since January 1, 2019. $1,000 from an anonymous donor, $200 from Karen Leslie Henry, $150 from Yvonne Haskins at the last meeting. We also received well over $3,000 in contribution from board members. And we're working on getting thank you letters out to everyone. Verizon has submitted their payment for Maplewood Mall and Shelton Properties, $1,596.86. Okay, so I'll let you continue with the report.
Have these things been deposited?
No, these are all arrangements. It hasn't happened yet.
No.
Which
The
things?
receipt, the $13.50 in private donations, $1,000 from the anonymous donor.
Yeah, that's in the PFCU. This is
Okay.
the one that it was $1,000, it was $150, and it was a $200 check.
Does any of this happen to be in the month of February?
No,
It's all in January.
it's all in January.
Okay. Okay, so we have a profit and loss statement in front of us. Morning.
Okay, we need a chair for the board member.
Would you mind relinquishing your chair for this young lady right here who's a member of the board? You good?
Me?
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you.
wait, is there another chair?
There might be something in the back there.
There's no chair.
We have them all out here.
Oh, yeah.
I got you all the time. I get 10 of
Do you want my chair?
Huh?
Do you want my chair?
Oh,
No.
sorry, Chair.
I'm not gonna want to stay for the whole meeting. I got other things I gotta do.
Could you make sure that the sign-in sheet is circulated, so if you come in, could you please sign it? It's right here.
I think it's inside.
Oh, sure, yeah. If anybody, yeah. Okay, so,
So does everyone have the,
No, that's it. Thank you.
okay, so does everyone have the profit and loss statement in front of them? Okay, so the way this is structured is October through December. So the first quarter of the fiscal year is in the first column, and then the month of January, which begins the second quarter, is in your second column, and then the last column is the total of it all. So for the first quarter, there was a gross profit of, well, I'm gonna use for-profit language. There were revenues of $19,434. And for the month of January, there were $3,467 in revenue. And from what Trapita just said, there are contributions that were made in order to pay expenses directly. And so I need to make sure I have that information so that I can incorporate these each of them.
right. And I also forgot about, there was a $669 donation, also from a board member, that went into
Yep.
into there too.
Yeah. I don't know that there was anything extraordinary. For the people who were here at the last meeting, I know that we had some there was an issue with the payroll and the payroll taxes because we didn't have the payroll reports. We've since then been able to access the paychecks records. So we actually have the correct payroll and tax split on this statement. So your total expenses for the first quarter were $22,000, leaving you in a $2,700 upside down position. And then for the month of January, with what we have so far, we have $2,477 in expenses, so we have a net operating gain of $989. So when you net those two numbers together for the year, you have a net loss of $1,780.45 so far, which is tremendously better than where we stood last year at this point.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, so we need a motion to accept the treasury report.
I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're gonna move on to old business. I already spoke again about the new business checking and savings account that's been established at PFCU and about the citizens account. I also talked about specific delinquent accounts, but we had mentioned in the last meeting that there were top 20 final notices were sent, and that was in excess of $100,000, and just in that top 20. So we are following the process and we'll go out to collections the second week in February. We're working with an attorney to help us on that. The promising thing is we are getting phone calls, visits. Jamar is going over to these businesses, and for the most part, they're cooperating and wanting to set up some type of arrangement. So those are the ones that I mentioned. At the same time, we're also being very transparent about where we are as the organization, and that's what we're doing at this point. So Dan, I'm gonna let you speak about the nominating advisory committee.
Okay, so we have had so far 2 meetings, and they've been pretty good meetings. Three meetings? Okay.
Yeah, 3 meetings.
3 meetings, okay. Pretty good meetings. A cross-section of individuals from the community are on this nominating committee. We've received, I think maybe 1 application so far. The deadline, I think, is the 18th of February. We hope to have sufficient representation at the conclusion of this process. The goal or the consensus that among the committee is that we have regional representation, and what I mean by that, north and south of the corridor, as well as east and west. And that we also have major stakeholders who have been here for a substantial period of time. The nonprofits, GFS, Mastery, and also a representative from the clergy, because we have a long tradition here of remarkable churches here who are nonprofits but are not required to make any kind of contribution, and I don't think they've made any kind of contribution in the past. So hopefully, once we get these stakeholders on board, we can have the resources to, number one, make sure that the corridor is clean, and then move forward to deal with some other issues that have to be dealt with in terms of making this a more attractive place to do business and to live. Any questions?
We'll save it until the end.
Okay.
But you have a large number of business and property owners that are also, that the group is vetting
Right,
as well.
right, so-
I've been at least 2 of those.
Individuals have sort of reached out to, I've reached out to 2 individuals. Everyone on that committee has reached out to at least 2 individuals. I know, yeah. So my response has been good, and the response that I'm getting from other members on the committee have been pretty good.
Okay. So the last meeting that Dan mentioned is it the 18th?
Well, the 18th is when the applications are due. We're gonna meet, I think we're gonna meet the 19th, I think is a Wednesday, I think.
Yeah. It's
We're gonna meet on the 19th, and that's gonna be our longest meeting. And we're gonna review all these applications. We'll get the applications beforehand, and then we'll review all the applications and we'll make a recommendation.
So at the last meeting, we had spoken to the public and to the board about trying to do this process by February. I think that was a bit ambitious, trying to do February, because you have about 6 or 7 people in that committee, and the list of individuals looked like over 20 at least that they were approaching. And then the time that it takes to do all that, look at the application. So the hope is after the meeting on the 19th, we'll have a conversation with the board, Dan will, and hopefully by March this meeting, we'll have that list together that we will then be able to nominate at the board meeting. Okay? One thing that we should add, in addition to the application, each of those individuals also have to go do the tax clearance application with the city, so that there's no outstanding water bill or tax bills. So while some people would be great for the board, that could also be a barrier. And that's not something we're going to publicize, obviously, if someone's not able to go through that process. Okay, so in March, we will have, we will be able to get that information. So I want to thank Dan and all the members, if anybody, I don't know if anybody's here that's on that committee, but they're really doing a good job and sacrificing their time as well, to come out. So I'm going to continue with the director's report. Street cleaning and beautification. So we have entered into an agreement with Friends of Germantown Northwest LLC. As you noticed from what the treasurer report said, the balance, there's no, cash flow is extremely tight right now. So the Friends of Germantown Northwest LLC is being supported by donations. And right now, we are able to secure some support for a 10-week cleaning cycle, which will be, I don't want to get this wrong, 3 days a week. I can't quote the days because I can't remember. I think it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And at least 3 hours. And they will be done consistently on the avenue. So, I mean, it's, at sometimes you go and some of the trash cans are full. And one thing that's really important to note, and having gone through this process recently and reading through all of the information, what municipal authorities are doing are also supposed to be supported by or supplementing what's happening already with the city. Okay, so we are doing the best at this time to come up to full speed with the cleaning. I think I get photos constantly from Friends of Germantown Northwest, before and after photos, and I do see that they're doing the best that they can out there. But they also need consistent trash pickups from the city and those other city services that we are supposed to be. I'm not saying we're not getting them. I don't know how consistent we're getting on this side. So that's happening. GoNWPhilly.com. Jamar said there's no real update on that. Just visit the website. We're supposed to get content for them to put, and I think most people know what that is. That's Go Northwest is this collaborative effort with all of these, and Andy, you guys are part of it.
Yeah, we're
You wanna
part of
talk
it.
about that a little bit?
Sure, I can, sure. Yeah, so Go Northwest is part of the Northwest Commercial Corridors Coalition, which Germantown is part of. And it's Germantown is one of 7 neighborhoods in Northwest Philadelphia have come together to try to pool resources to market and promote Northwest Philadelphia as a separate special entity from the rest of the city. So amongst the neighborhoods that are part of that is Germantown, Mount Airy, Chestnut Hill, West Oak Lane, East Falls, and Manayunk and Roxborough. And the part that's in operation right now is we got funding from the Commerce Department to do some additional marketing. So a website's been set up, a landing page has been set up that will link to everybody else's website, and they're just looking for some content to push out to social media, again, to promote the neighborhoods that are represented. So that's the content that they're referring to, is photographs and anecdotes and that sort of thing. So.
Thanks, Andy.
Mhm.
Okay, events, we we were having the MLK Day cleanup, and that was canceled. I think that was the extremely cold day where a lot of the other activities in the city were canceled or rescheduled. But there's a spring cleanup, April 6th. You like to talk about that, Connie?
Yeah, Cleansing and Beautification Committee is number 8 on the agenda, but I do have a written report. Yeah, so I can just pass it. Could you pass them? This committee meets every Wednesday in the morning at 8:15. And we just had our meeting once a month on the first Wednesday of the month.
From wireless color.
So our meeting was held this past Wednesday. What we're focusing on right now is the Philly Spring Cleanup, which is going to be held on Saturday, April 6th. We discussed following, including service projects, what we call signature project sites. So as a, for instance, maybe Market Square, clean it up, do whatever, leaf raking, it just depends on what's needed. The committee discussed several sites that could be considered, and we'll announce that once we do the actual flyer. The signature sites will be on the flyer. So obviously we have an opportunity to engage students. Student workshop is going to be held at Mastery Charter School this year. Next year, Germantown Friends School agreed to, Green Street Friends School agreed to host it. But we're engaging students in each of the schools to do something aside from cleaning, attending the workshop, but actually working on actual activities in the community. So the local businesses, students, middle school students at Green Street Friends School, they want to develop certificates which would be awarded to businesses to owners for display that designate that they're a good neighbor, so to speak. And we discussed criteria. And and I think this is important to say, removes and reports graffiti, sweeps in front or behind their businesses, opens shutters and grates during business hours to contribute to a sense of safety and welcome, and cleans windows regularly. So the students are going to be preparing those certificates to give out to those businesses. And then we also have been trying for several months to work with the Philadelphia Horticultural Society. So we have a partnership with them. Their Roots to Reentry program, we thought that we would be able to do that earlier, partner with them earlier in the spring, but we won't be able to until May. But essentially, they're going to have their interns who start May 16th and run through June 20th to work with us on special projects here in the Germantown Special Services District Business Corridor. And we are looking for that to be what we reported earlier, and that was beautify the corners of Germantown and Shelton, Green and Shelton, and Wayne and Shelton with planters, appropriate plant materials from the planters. And that's our report.
Okay, okay. So communications and outreach, there was one meeting held, we had our January meeting, and the purpose of the meeting was just to formulate the public announcement and statement that we put out. And the meeting, that committee just meets monthly. Right now, really the focus of it is not so much about event promotion, but more about getting out timely information to the public and communicating with the business owners. And that meeting is held on the third Monday, right here in this office at 5:30.